perspective conversation. This is Lyzeth and Martina's first episode. Welcome to our channel. Then we just go in and start talking Okay, so you judge me along with a few other people judge me for wanting to get their nails done. And so my friend, I told her, this was before the mayor came out with the article yesterday, I think, the one she came out with. And it was talking about opening things back up on 29th. And I was like, oh my God, I think this is maybe Tuesday or so. I can't remember, sometime this week. And I was like, oh my God, I can make an appointment, get my nails, and I get a pedicure. And I text my friend, I don't want to say her full name. I text my friend Elle, and her and I, that's our thing. Like, we go like twice a month, we go like mani-pedis, and then we go out to eat afterwards. Yeah. But, so all that's changing. And so I was texting her last night. I was like, hey, Elle, I was like, oh my God, I need to get a wax appointment. I need to get my hair done. I wonder if I can get that done this weekend. She's like, well, the mayor says that she's not opening up until sometime in June. And I was like, wait, so that means you're not getting your nails done next weekend? The mayor said that we're not opening until June.
Early June.
And so I was like, well, if my place cancels, then I won't go. But I'm not canceling my appointment right now. I was like, now, if you want me to call and cancel on you, because she doesn't like to make the own damn appointments. I make our hair appointments. I make all the appointments when we do things. So I was like, now, I can call and cancel your appointment, but I'm keeping mine unless they cancel. She's like, okay, well, she's like, you can go ahead and cancel my appointment. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cancel yours. But I'm not canceling mine unless they cancel it for me. I'm not doing it. No. Now, understand, I haven't made a hair appointment or a wax or anything like that. So I'm going to hold off on that. But I've already made my nails and pedicure. I'm going to wait. So if my salon cancels, then I'm not going. But if they don't cancel it, I'm going.
What day is it?
Saturday, next Saturday.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm tired. People in America, look at this.
It's not essential.
I get that. I get that it's not essential. But it's essential for me to feel good about myself. Now,
I mean, that is true. Like, when you think about, like, what's essential to one person versus essential to another person.
Like, they open up plant shops.
But that helps with, like, your mental, like, have a hobby.
My nails done can help with my mental health. It depends on, no, don't get me wrong, I've gone to, I got a new plant. Oh my God, I don't know if I told you. So I can't grow anything for shit. And so I've had a few plants in the past. I named my first plant Valerie Jr. Well, Valerie, she died. I named second one Valerie Jr. died. So I went and got my most recent plant. I'm not giving her a name. Her name's just going to be Plant.
Plant. You don't want to get emotionally attached to the plant.
Exactly. So just in case if she died, although my roommate, I put it on her. She has the ownership. So she's the one who has to water it because I know I'm not. And I follow the guidelines to water it correctly. I look it up online. The shit just don't grow. It dies. So I'm not getting attached. Plant.
Maybe it's your negative energy.
What kind of negative energy though, Lyzeth? What kind is it?
Because if you think that you can't grow anything and you're just gonna kill it, it probably senses that. You know how they say plants can sense.
I've been learning about manifestations. We should do an episode on that too. We definitely should. I get what you're saying. I get like the negative thing around thinking about it, but that's why I'm really not even thinking about the plant. I'm not at all. Because the man was taking care of it. So there's no energy.
Well, then that's different. Because now it's not even under your...
Wait, say what?
I said now it's different because you're not taking care of it. So now you're able to just be like, okay, so maybe the plant will grow. Maybe the plant will thrive.
I'm just like, I'll peek at it, make sure that Phoebe, who's my cat, is not eating at it. We make sure that for all the pet people out there, we got a safe plant. that she can be around. It will not harm her. Disclaimer.
That's good.
So we made sure of that when we went and got a plant, because we really want. I have a really nice pot to put it in that I got from another place like 2 years ago, and the pot's just been sitting there. And my roommate A was like, "Oh my God, we need to get a plant." I was like, "We got to be careful though, because we have Phoebe." So we did like extensive research to make sure we got a plant that she could be around. But so far, knock on wood, she hasn't attacked the plant yet. So it's going pretty good. Yeah. But that was I'm just wanted to say that in terms to COVID. Yesterday when the mayor came out with like, kind of like the things that open up in June. Whenever, I don't know, I'm assuming by maybe mid-June it might open. I'm not sure.
Well, she said early June, and for her early June it meant before June 10th. Like she wants like do it in the single digits. But
Okay.
I think she said that's what she envisions.
Okay. So, okay.
So maybe things will change and you'll be able to get your nails done and they won't cancel your appointment.
Yeah, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting to see what the nail salon's gonna do, and go from there. But it's a whole slew of things lined up: waxing, hair. I should back up: waxing of multiple things, hair, nails, pedicure. Yeah, those are yeah.
See, I can't even get my hair done because my hairstylist is in a different state, and
girl, well, you're okay. So
and he's not opening up anytime soon until it's completely safe.
I was gonna say okay. So I think also as we start to talk about this, do people know we live in Chicago? Like we live in Chicago, Illinois. I don't know if we have.
I don't think we mentioned that.
I don't think we explicitly say, okay, we live in Chicago, Illinois. So just so people know that the corona rates here are some of the highest across the country. Yeah. And we just wanted to put that out there. We live in Chicago, and your hairstylist, I don't know if you want to say where he is, you don't have to, but he is out of state. And so, but I respect that though. He's not opening up until things get better control. I don't know how it is in that state that he's in. I don't know the rates there, but I respect that. I
don't know either. I mean, I think every business owner is different. I think when it comes to what they can and can't do and how they want to proceed moving forward. If you're able to get all the protective gear that you need, I think that's a good thing. But I think it's just different with stylists. I would just assume because you're so close to a person, and just, even wearing the mask itself, like I can't even imagine being a hairstylist and having to wear a mask all day when you're dealing with people and it's already loud enough and then you have to speak louder because I don't know. But it'll be interesting to kind of see how hairstylists can handle that. I know they're not doing blowouts, I believe, are out of the question.
Why not?
Yeah. Because it moves air particles around.
Then why would I go then?
I thought, sorry to break it to you, I read that most salons aren't doing blowouts, like no blowouts.
Okay, so my salon, they have not opened up back yet. Opened up back yet, of course, but they have started emailing out the regulations of how it's going to be once they open. So obviously, you have to have your mask on. I think maybe they even mentioned gloves, and they're going to check your temperature before they can serve you. They're going to check your temperature beforehand, and they're going to check your temperature after on your way out. And they're not doing more than 10 people at a time, so appointments are going to be scattered throughout the day. So it's going to be kind of like, of course, first come, first serve. But I did not know that they can't do blowouts. That was the point of me going, I don't know if the
salon is making the decision. Like, is it just by salon per salon that makes that decision? I can't remember what the article said that I was reading at the time. But I believe it's just there's a safety issue when it comes to blowouts.
I need to look more into that.
You should.
Yeah, I did not know that the blowouts, which makes sense though, because it's wind. which is kind of just moving air throughout the facility.
And then I think that's like the thing about like curly hair. Like I am walking out the salon with like wet curls and just like get it all frizzed up after I just got it done. Like no, it needs to be blow dried so it gets all pretty and it lasts for a few days.
And that's my whole point of wanting to go, because I can do this myself. Like I said, if I can't get a blowout, I'm gonna just stay home. I don't know. I just really think as it starts to open back up, it's almost like, in a sense, if you can't do it right, why go? Like, why would I go? You know, if I can't, like, because the whole thing with like the restaurant restrictions, I know the mayor said that restaurants are going to need to come up with a plan to have indoor seating and what that's going to look like.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it's going to look like. Of course, I don't think any of us know, but I'm like, it's just almost one of those things. If you can't do it right, then why do it? Just stay in your house. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like my hesitation. Like when my friend was like, "Oh, I want to go to a restaurant and eat and all this stuff," I was like, you won't see me at a restaurant anytime soon. Whether they have like, I mean, they can have PPE all they want, and they can have tables 10 feet apart, or whatever it is. But it's just the risk is too high, and just being that close quarters. And the more information that comes out of it, just being able to stay in the virus stay in the air for like 14 minutes, you know, unless you're disinfecting the air like throughout or whatever it could be, like that's just, it doesn't seem reasonable because I have to take my mask off to eat. Like, there's like the servers can keep their mask on all day if they wanted to. But me as a patron, like I have to take my mask to eat and enjoy a meal, and it just adds to me. It just adds like anxiety to have to like even think about like all the steps I have to take just to enjoy a meal. Like I'd rather just wait until I can actually sit down and enjoy it, and have an actual nice dinner, lunch, whatever. Versus, you know, putting my life at risk and putting others at risk of it, and just, you know, it's
not worth it. And it's just not, I mean, because to go out in restaurants is different from, I think even nail salons and barber shops, I think those are some of the primary kind of like, whether you consider that non-essential, essential, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think restaurants, in a sense, to be able to, because a part of going is to be able to enjoy yourself. You have to take off your mask to eat. You can't eat with your mask on. I mean, this just almost to the point where it's like, it's stupid. It is. Why would I go to a restaurant and sit down inside or outside? Because they're talking about patio too.
Yes.
You still have to have your mask on, but then how are you going to eat? And then it's also like a sanitary issue. So how are we doing with utensils, with glasses? Are you washing those so many 100 degrees, throwing them out? Like, what are you doing? Can you even reuse things? I mean, I don't know any of this yet. Maybe this is far as restaurants are going to come out with, but it's almost like, just, if you can't do it normal, then don't do it. Just wait till we get a vaccine. It's too much.
And it sucks because when you think about the small business that are, you know, restaurants, and then, you know, kind of depend on having people come and sit down and enjoy, whether it's their bar, whether it's just their sit down area. Like, it sucks to have to think that the reality is that they might not be able to open and it might fold. Like, there's all these talks about businesses never coming back from this because it's just been too much, and it sucks. But it's this thing of like, do you put the public health or the economy, you know, above one or the other? Like, it's that's the conversation that the US is having, right? Like, that's what we see. Like, is it the health or is it the economy? And we know who's all for the economy.
Just say it. Say it. This is your
perspective. All know, it is my perspective. We all know Trump and his followers, his little other Trumpers.
Trumpers. Oh, that's a good one. Trumpers.
You know, are for the economy. And I think there's a case to be made for the economy, but I think there's a safer and more logical way to do things than just saying reopen it all and let it be the Hunger Games, may the odds be at your favor, you know, kind of thing. And it's like, no, like there's a responsibility to just every US citizen and every person that lives in this country to ensure that we do it safely. But some people just don't care.
And you bring up a good point, because it does suck, to just be frank, but when you look at some of the larger restaurants, whether they're the larger franchises or some of just larger ones we have here in Chicago, that are, I know the restaurant industry just in general is suffering a lot, but a lot of those larger ones may be able to maintain and kind of fit into this new way of life. But as you're mentioning, some of those kind of mom and pop shops, those family businesses, it really sucks to them, because, I'm all about supporting them, because they really are what a lot of the communities are about here in Chicago. And a lot of people within those communities, that's like a part of their home. That's a part of their family, being able to go to that restaurant and things like that. But they can't necessarily have delivery people, able to go out to all different neighborhoods like some of the larger restaurants. They can do that. But it just, I don't know. I think it's really interesting as we start to see here in Chicago what sort of regulations are going to come out from the restaurant side and how they're going to try to sustain this. And, whether it's the larger ones or kind of the mom and pop ones, what that's going to look like, because it takes money. And if you don't have the money to do it, like you said, unfortunately, some of them, they may fold.
Yeah, and you think about just the people that are, the consumer, like you and me, Chicago, like there are those that don't have jobs and are making decisions as to what they're going to be spending their money on, and going to go get a meal at a restaurant or buying curbside delivery isn't a priority anymore. It's like, hey, if I need to buy groceries, I'm going to buy groceries and not use it for anything else. Like there's these other sort of luxury things that we just, used to just have our disposable income, just kind of like, okay, this is where I'm going to go. But now it's like, even if you don't have a job, even if you have a job, just knowing the way things are right now and the uncertainty, I pause when I'm like, ooh, should I order something in? Like, oh, I really want, some pizza, but I'm like, I really should be saving that money so that I can just get groceries and just eat at home, because it's just that unknown. There's just too many unknowns at this point. And, people are making those decisions of like, all right, well, I'm just gonna get groceries and not worry about buying, ordering a pizza or supporting my local small businesses when prices might be higher because of this time. Like, I don't know, like I've heard restaurants are charging a COVID-19 service charge or surcharge, some places.
I've not heard of that. What part of?
Yeah, there was a place out on it was somewhere on the north side, and I can't remember what place it was. I think they took it off because there was a lot of like public backlash. But apparently there's somewhere else that's doing like a COVID-19 surcharge. And their reasoning is, we need to charge this extra thing because we're, just due to the economy, just due to the current times, like if not, we're gonna fold if we don't charge this to make up what we haven't been able to make things. So
that's kind of, that's a negative. I have not experienced that. And I've done my fair share of ordering out during COVID-19. I've also done my fair share of cooking at home during COVID-19. Probably a little bit half and half. I have not run into anything. I see they're trying to package things differently. Like they have family meals. You can buy so much for like $20, $30, so forth, or even like free deliveries. I've seen the complete opposite, but that's just maybe the places that I'm ordering from. That's really fascinating, because I'm almost at a point like, if you're going to charge me more for this, I'm just going to eat what I have at home.
Yeah.
Like, why would I pay? And like, I understand from the business perspective of the restaurant, okay, you trying to maintain, but this person's also trying to maintain for their family or themselves. Like, why would I pay a COVID charge? I just, no.
Yeah, it was interesting just to kind of see it. And I know I saw it in the news as well. Like somebody brought it up and they were talking about it. And it was just, but again, it goes back to that, how do you survive this time as a business, as a small, even like a small business?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think the large businesses are charging, you know, COVID-19 surcharge, but I can see small businesses. I can see maybe like corner stores wanting to do something like that. Because it's just, how do you survive when people maybe aren't visiting you because they're not being out and about as much?
Well, if it's a corner store, take your ass to the store. Walk to the store. Like if it's up the corner, we have a corner store in Chicago. We have a lot of corner stores. Take your ass up to the store and you ain't got to worry about that. But if you live farther away, I understand. But just walk to the store. Like I have a Dunkin' right up the street. I can just go get it instead of like ordering Dunkin'. I mean, this becomes into a whole different kind of other issue.
I know, I was like, we're about to
necessities versus laziness, kind of like the thing. But some of this is laziness, which has been here before COVID. But just go to the corner store. So I don't know. That's interesting to me because I just I don't know. There's really, I almost seem, and I think I'm, you know, a pessimist by nature. You know, I am a realist, and almost feel like I don't know what's gonna come of this because it feels like someone's gonna have to suffer for something, whether it's the economy or the healthcare. Since I'm more healthcare minded, I go towards, more towards make sure people are healthy. But you know, of course, in economists, this is a very different thing. Like I said, there's no good answer for any of this. Like we all know, most of us shouldn't be opening up our states or our cities. We shouldn't. Like numbers are still going higher, and people like, oh well, that's because we're starting to test more. Not really, because we don't have enough tests. That's not the truth. More people are coming out and being exposed, but at the same time, which is why we are upon the Memorial Day weekend, which is why states are starting to open up beaches, because they know people are going to flock there anyway, because people don't listen.
Yeah.
I don't want to be inside. Like, I've been inside for 2 or 3 months already. I don't want to be inside anymore. Then I'm going to just flock to a beach. And so, which is why multiple states have started to open up beaches, because people, they're not going to follow the rules. And so it's kind of a mess all around. And I have a lot of sympathy for elected officials, and whether it's restaurant owners, people trying to make these decisions, because it is not easy. It is not easy at all. Like, no one's going to be happy. Like, not 100% of people are going to be happy no matter which side you come from. Somebody's going to be pissed off.
Yeah. As you know, I've been watching Madam Secretary.
Oh, yes.
And I think it reminded me.
This is flavored water. For people asking if I'm drinking, no, I'm not drinking. Now, I do love my wine. We'll talk about that in another episode, but this is flavored. So I want to say
flavored water.
Flavored water. Now, I will say, I do love my wine, but that's for another episode.
But I think the show reminded me of just how many scenarios, decisions a politician has to make, and like has to think through, and like how you have to compromise. Like, I think people forget how much politicians have to compromise.
Yeah.
Like there's everybody wants that like idealist of like, they're gonna stand up and they're gonna do the right thing through and through, and nothing's gonna derail them from that, and it's like, unfortunately, we don't live in an ideal world where that would be functional. Mm-hmm. And it just reminded me, what you just said, like reminded me of just that, of like, you know, our elected officials have to work in this like broken kind of system, and they're just trying to make decisions to just appease what they can at the moment and hope for the best. I mean, I think politics is just a lot of like hoping that it'll turn out okay, and just it's just kind of like, let's try this out and maybe it'll work. And if it doesn't, we'll have to go back and write some other resolution or pass some other kind of legislation, or or go back. And I mean, when you look at like Pritzker, who's our governor here in Illinois, like this whole idea of like, okay, we're going to have these phases of reopening, but let's be clear, like there might be a time when we're going to have to go back to like a phase 2 because phase 3 just went kaput and it just did not work out. So we got to go back to phase 2. Y'all got to stay home. So I appreciate sort of that realism of it, because it's like, it's true. Like nobody understands this virus. Nobody really knows what's going on with this.
Yeah, I just believe until we get a vaccine, and this whole trying to fast track it, I'm like, look, honey, take as long as you and your team of scientists, whomever needs to get this right, because we don't want you to fast track it and then something else worse happens. Like, I'm just take your time, get it approved, get the right regulations that we need to have for a vaccine. I mean, people want to come out of their house. Look, honey, I'm sorry, you can't come out of your house. Why? Because you want to go to the beach? There are more important things at stake. People's lives are at stake. These scientists and their teams need to get it right so we can have a proper vaccination, one that doesn't have to be recalled or go do this and that. Let's try to get this right the first time. Because that's what it's going to be like until we get the vaccine. And even then, that's going to be a whole different set of rules that's going to come out with that too. It's just going to take time. People are just going to have to just wake up and realize that. It's going to take time.
I mean, and just to think of like, I mean, yeah, like you mentioned, it sucks to have to like stay at home. It sucks having to stay away from loved ones and follow all these rules when you go to a grocery store, when you go, you know, even when you go pump gas, like the thought of like, okay, you know, make sure I sanitize my hands after I kind of do that, and all these little things that kind of add up, you know. And it sucks, like, you know, my sister has come to like drop stuff off, and it's like she can't come in, we can't even like hug her, we got to stay like super far away, and it's like, it sucks. You just have to just make the best of it, and she'll like stay outside. We have a chair outside, so she'll stand out there, and then we'll like talk her from like the door, and we're like talking to each other, just catching up. But it's like, it really does suck. But like, you also, as you mentioned, like, how can you fast track a vaccine? You know, you need to get it tested. I want it to be tested. I wanted to make sure that it actually works, that it doesn't cause more harm than good. You know, like, because the last thing you want is for people to like, you know, have ugly side effects to it. You know, that, I mean, unfortunately, they could lead to death. Like, there's all these scenarios that you just don't know from the vaccine, and it's like, I get it. You want to go back to it, and you know, and you heard me mention this, like, if we don't demand more from our elected officials to do something to help us during this time, then we're going to keep going back to this, like, you know, stay at home order, shelter in place orders, and then maybe opening the economy and these back and forth of it, because, you know, and the economy never getting to where it needs to go, because we're not demanding everything. And all we're seeing, like, I feel like, is the short-sightedness of it. Like, okay, let's open up all the factories, let's all go back to work. But it's like, if you all go back to work and there isn't a plan in place to protect people, those numbers that we see, you know, of like confirmed COVID cases are going to go up.
Yep.
You know, and it's going to cause more harm than good. And then it's going to be like, well, why did you all let it open? Why did we open up? And like all these things. And it's like,
yes,
somehow somebody needs to get on the right
We're going to
track.
blame somebody. Everybody wants to blame somebody. I'm never wrong. It's this person made that decision. I mean, but it's also, too, I know we're talking about a lot of negatives, but it's also in an upcoming episode for us, how desperation equals innovation. This is a great opportunity for people to really think about how can you be innovative during this time. Like, look at throughout history and different decades. Look how people have been in oppressed and recessions, like these cultures of oppression and just recessions that have happened, and look at some things that have been able to flourish out of that. I think there's we don't have all the answers, but there are definitely ways people are going to have to start thinking if you want to sustain yourself. I think so, that's the thing that we will talk later about in our series. But I think really just think about, stop focusing so much on the negative, but what can we do that's a positive? I mean, just some of the small things I've really seen acts of charity. People are really helping each other during this time, whether it's with PPE, mask, or other sort of equipment that people have, even just checking in on your neighbor if they're elderly, things of that nature. People are doing, just really trying to be there for one another as a human. And for me, I went through Hurricane Katrina. I lived near the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. So one thing that I saw during Hurricane Katrina, especially being in Mississippi and Louisiana, there were so many people that came from all over the country who wanted to help, to where it was just, whether they were, donating clothes or giving out food or, giving you money to help pay for your bills. People just wanted to help in whichever way that they can. And I think, we're in a situation like that here where there are opportunities for us to help one another come up with these like innovative business plans. Like, you don't have to have gone to this school or that school or have this degree or that degree or have any money. Just people just from all walks of life can come up with various ideas that might be able to help get us out of this or push it forward. I mean, obviously we all using Zoom now or WebEx or some other online platform. Yeah, and there are so many different ways industries could take that. So many partnerships that can be made from people working together. And I just think that's an avenue hopefully we'll start to see. Like we all know COVID isn't going anywhere. So we're gonna have to just work with what we have and try to make the best of these situations. So I'm really much looking forward to what people are gonna come up with as we continue to go down this line and the creativity that, is gonna be flowing from this.
Yeah. And I think you said something about like partnerships and having to work together. I think that's important. I think that's something that needs to happen more. And I think about just like our Chicago communities. I've seen, at least on like my timeline of like social media, like all these sort of collective groups coming together and creating like mutual aid funds and like things to help. I mean, those tend to be the ones that I've seen are targeted to like the immigrant population here in Chicago and wanting to help those that don't have access to any federal or kind of state help because of just their undocumented status and things like that. But I think it's important to figure out who are those partners. It's important to innovate and change. I think one thing I always hear is, change is maybe the only constant. Like things are always going to evolve, things are always going to change. Things are just going to go different routes in different ways. And if you're not willing to adapt to it, then you're going to get left behind. And that's just the same whether you are, the richest of the rich or the poorest of the poor. It's like you're just gonna have to figure it out. And unfortunately, some people have more access to things to help them during the time versus others. But I think you're right. Like it's about changing your perspective, no pun intended, during this time to really kind of think through. Like I know you and I were like, well, what can we do? Like, what can we do differently? And we're like, we have these great conversations and let's just kind of get on Zoom and then put these up, on the social channels. And I think it's that kind of thinking of just what can you do during this time that'll, allow you to innovate and be different, and really reflect on what skill sets you have or those around you have that maybe you can help get them somewhere and things like that. It's just, there's just so many possibilities. And like you said, like we can definitely look at the negative and look at that, but if there is a sliver of positivity, there are those, lights, at the end of the tunnel moments that you'll see. And it's just a matter of what we do with them, and not being afraid to ask for help. I think that's something that some people just struggle with. I think in particularly like with people of color, we have a hard time asking for help sometimes and wanting to, say that, we're lacking in something. But I think it's definitely important to kind of think out of the box as you're talking about.
Adaptation. You got to adapt. You got to adapt. So yeah, I'm just, looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. Even, amongst our jobs, as we mentioned, we're both in nonprofits. So, what's that's going to look like too is we continue with our jobs and our partnerships and stakeholders that we work with on a daily basis. Like, what does that look like? What sort of initiatives and ideas are going to come out of that? Because obviously people are already thinking about it. It's just, what is it going to look like over time?
Yeah. I mean, then, I know we weren't slated to talk about the nonprofit world, but I think it's also another, business sector that has been completely, like, I think, affected and upended during these times, and having to adapt very quickly, because, if you're a nonprofit, you're probably, dependent on funders and fundraising events and your grants and all these things. And I don't know by your end, but I know, like, we just saw a lot of grants that were like, okay, what's your rapid response COVID-19? And, some organizations were set up to be able to just quickly respond to that and be able to get those dollars in. And others were just like, okay, we need a little bit of time to kind of shift what we're doing, to kind of be able to do that rapid response. But yeah, like, I don't think any business sector is sort of immune to the effects of, COVID-19 and what it'll bring for the economy in general.
Well, I do want to get us out of this rapid response mindset, though, because as we work a lot with health disparities just across the board, and it's a rapid response is not going to do what we need to do in the end, because there are many things going on right now that involves a rapid response to COVID-19. But if you don't get to the underlying disparities in general, you can rapid response all you want, and it's just going to be in vain.
Yeah.